Moving along, long ball number 2 today. I swear we will get to United States men's national team and World Cup tickets. Those are segments to come. But we've been talking a lot about stadiums, and there's been a lot of USL stadium talk. There's stadiums and plans being talked about across the country, but one of the most challenging places to build a stadium that's been hard work for MLS and the big money behind MLS teams. But New York City FC's Willett's Point is actually happening. There is building going on, and in Willet's Point, Queens, for it is called Etihad Park, the future home of NYCFC. This has been an enigma for quite some time, and looks like it's actually happening, Jason.
Yeah, there's the way that the story I saw described it was that the superstructure is going up.
Superstructure.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just a regular structure, Rob. It's a superstructure. Is it a structure that was that was dropped into like nuclear waste and suddenly came out with? No, I'm kidding. That's a terrible joke. My apologies. Anyway, this is the main part.
Kryptonite. Right? You're opening up kryptonite.
The main part of the stadium structure, right? The part that matters, the steel girders that will lead to the stands going in and the concourses and all those things. Now, this is still very early days for this stadium. And I think one thing that I'd be curious to pick your brain about is, as we kind of consider this event, right? The arrival of a superstructure. This is it. Like, if you didn't know this was Etihad Park or whatever it's going to be called at Willett's Point in Queens, this is just a building, right? This is just steel girders going up all over. There's a project 3 minutes from my house where there's 5 cranes working all the time to build I would, if I didn't know that this was a stadium, I wouldn't know. But it does bring up the question of New York City as a soccer market, as a home of professional soccer and American soccer at this point in time, because we very much are shiny new object people in American soccer.
Yeah.
Like there's a new club, and look, we're guilty of it on this show because we're talking about the USL exploding with growth. We're talking about building stadiums with 10,000 people or maybe 15 so that you can get first division status as part of the new USL plan. Like those, that we are definitely like, oh, there's a new team in this place or maybe a new team there, or what's going on in Milwaukee. New York City has been a home of professional soccer on some level, in some way, since the beginning of Major League Soccer. Now, they played in Jersey. They were the New York, New Jersey Metro Stars. Then obviously you had the Red Bull takeover, and they've been New York Red Bulls, but they built a wonderful stadium, but it's in New Jersey. And then obviously NYCFC come along. And I was one of those people, Rob, who was like, this is dumb. What are we doing here? Why are you putting a team in New York without a stadium? Why are we playing baseball at Yankee Stadium? Oh, and also you got to go play at Chase Field because you're short on dates. Oh, occasionally you got to go across the river and play at Red Bull Arena because you don't have the space, or the Yankees are playing in the playoffs or whatever. Like it all sucked, right? It was all terrible. And it certainly indicated that New York City was not meeting its potential as a place for soccer in America at the professional level. I'm not saying that there's not a vibrant soccer scene in New York. Obviously there is. There are probably millions of soccer fans in New York City, right? They go out and watch games. They play in local leagues, all those things. But man, it definitely feels like we're still not scratching the surface of what New York could become in terms of a home for soccer in America. Does it need to be London, Rob? Do we need 50 teams in New York? Probably not. But we should have more than one across the river and one in a baseball stadium. This is a step in that direction with the new stadium for NYCFC. I think it will change the complexion of that club dramatically. But we got Brooklyn. We were supposed to have Queensboro. That died. Like what's going on with other elements of soccer professionally in New York?
Yeah, good point. As there's probably millions of soccer fans in New York, and how many are American fans or just fans of the domestic game? And yeah, untapped market there. And I still remember the feeling when I saw the first NYCFC game broadcast from Yankee Stadium, being like, "Whoa, all this money behind this, and this is the product that is being presented." Like there's challenges to putting a soccer game on in a baseball stadium, but for some reason, the Yankee setup is just a little bit even more jarring. And I've seen people's reaction. Ever seen someone put their eyes upon a NYCFC home broadcast before? The light dims from their eyes when they see how that is broadcast, and it is jarring. That is a jarring broadcast experience that I think they've tweaked it a little bit, but still, when you see like an all goals tally from Major League Soccer, when it goes from place to place to place, that is hands down the worst vantage point. Look, there's nets, the angles are all off. Mike in the comments saying the new stadium can't come soon enough. And it's, like your point, it was overdue when the team started, in all honesty. It is a tough look, and hopefully this gets up and available as soon as possible. So this is on Willets Point Boulevard in Willets Point, Queens. The stadium's going to be a almost 25,000 seat venue, centerpiece of a 23-acre redevelopment plan, along with a public school, a hotel, and more than 150,000 square feet of public open space. So again, like many other things, not just a stadium, but for our interests, a 25,000 capacity soccer specific stadium in Queens, New York. That if they get that over the line, which, I mean, obviously once you get the superstructure on board, they're serious about the soccer stadium happening.
Look, here's a thing about, and look, I'm not a New Yorker, right? I've been there plenty of times, but I'm not a New Yorker. Have I engaged directly with the soccer culture of New York? Not at the ground level, not at the community level. And I see in the chat there's this discussion about, New York has clubs. There are soccer clubs all over New York. What there aren't are professional clubs that have professional venues. Now, and this is that chicken and egg problem that we have in American soccer, because again, the idea is with an open system, if we had the ability to, you're entering at the bottom level, you're an amateur team, but you win your way up, you can become professional, and you can eventually win your way into the top division of soccer in America, right? That's the dream, right, Rob? We talked about this a lot. That's the dream. Obviously the issue here is that in a place like New York, where land is at a premium, where space is at a premium, where there just aren't soccer venues of that level, you do wonder, like, how would that work? Now, I'm not saying it's impossible, and I'm not trying to squash anybody's dreams, but if you had a local Queens team or a team out of Brooklyn that wins their way up in an open system, they're going to have to eventually figure out where to play games if they win their way up. Now, and I don't, again, not saying it's impossible. And I know people will probably pick out, well, there's a small stadium here, there's a small stadium at St. John's or whatever. Like, those things exist, but it's just not ideal. I wish that was what we had. And I think what we need to do, rather than go, well, it should be like this, and if it's not like this, it's trash, is try to find creative ways to work within what we got. Now, maybe the USL finds that, right? Maybe the USL has some sort of key to unlock this incredible opportunity. And we're watching, and you and I have been party to some comments from people about some USL stuff that we're not going to get into today, but sort of indicate some of the problems, I guess you could say.
Speculative nature.
Just sort of like how it's a little bit fragile sometimes with expansion in even those lower division levels of American soccer, right? Like, with $500 million get to MLS, that's inaccessible to most people. Okay, well, so you create a different opportunity, but let's sort of, how does that work? How is it coming from organic places? Not usually. It takes somebody with money to say, I want to put a club here, right? And maybe you're working a land deal in order to entice somebody with money to come in and say, well, I'll back that club because there's an opportunity for me to develop that property, which does not feel right as soccer fans. It's not what we want. We don't want people to invest in soccer because they want to develop property. We want them to invest in soccer because soccer is amazing, and it should be worthwhile to put your money down on the game to help it grow in this country, right? I don't know. So we'll see. I mean, again, should there be a Queens professional team and a Brooklyn professional team and a Manhattan team and a team in Harlem and a team in Midtown and a team, and a team in Chelsea? Don't call it Chelsea. That would be annoying. But, should there be a team like in every single one of these little pockets? Yes, there absolutely should. Is it possible? Totally different question.
That just gave some people an idea out in New York that really want to get under your skin to start an American Chelsea club, just to spite you there, Jason.
I'm just being funny. I do remember years and years ago, and I don't think it's a conversation I had with him. I do think he said it in a different interview, but remember when Gus Johnson was doing soccer, Rob? Do you remember this? Do you
I
know
remember
Gus
a short window in time. That was only a
Okay.
couple of games, wasn't it?
So no. Fox decided Gus Johnson was going to be their guy at the World Cup, and they sent him and he did a Champions League final, and he did all this stuff. I just watched him call Iowa State this weekend. Gus has gotten even more excitable in his older years, and it's a lot. It's a lot. I like Gus Johnson, but it's a lot, and it does not fit soccer. But anyway, I remember there being an interview with Gus Johnson when he was in this phase of trying to be a soccer broadcaster, and they said, "What's your favorite team?" And he said Chelsea, and they said, "Why?" And he said, "Because I live in Chelsea, New York." And I was like, "Oh, I guess that's a good a reason as any to pick a team, right? Your neighborhood's called Chelsea. There's a different Chelsea in London. Sure, why not?"
Hey, if you got to find a connection somehow. And just one note more on this Etihad Park, according to New York YIMBY, is expected to be built with 100% private finances and open before the 2027 MLS season. So the clock is ticking for that new stadium build.